The federal government on Wednesday said it was currently devising better ways to close down internally displaced persons camps across the country. It said this was because it initially did not expect IDPs in many of the camps to stay so long in the facilities, stressing that government could not continue to care for individuals who should contribute to nation building. What are your thoughts on this? You can join the conversation by calling us on 081-270-53687 or 091-390-76948. And we will be having a guest, Honorable Satomi Ahmad, currently Jere Federal Constituency of Borno in the 9th National Assembly, to join us in this conversation. But first, let's get the thoughts of the ladies.
So let me say my own on this matter. So when I saw the story, just by reading the headline, I felt upset. Then when I went into it, I heard we cannot continue to look after people who are supposed to contribute to nation building. And I'm wondering, did you look after anybody? Did you listen to the numbers and reports of, the outrageous reports of corruption happening within these camps? You said facility, there was none. These houses are makeshift tents. If you see most of them, there was really no building. Makeshift tents, people live in ridiculous. In fact, they were refugees. The way they lived, the government really didn't put anything in place. Everything in most of those camps were temporary. We have the grass cutting scandal. Money is being diverted. Money for their feeding being diverted. So yes, is that a facility? So the report would have covered the extent, assessment of what has been done so far, the budget, that has gotten into this, what exactly was spent, and let's have people face consequences of the corruption that put people in this kind of lifestyle. People stayed in these camps for years, 5 to 7 years. Some kids were born, displaced, never no parents, they lived in this, and you just want to, just get out of the system and say, okay, we think we should
run away from the responsibility.
Back to nation building. And I found it ridiculous. I think it is too...
The comment was
when I saw the headline, too, I had the same sentiment. But when I read it, for me, what I saw was we're trying to devise ways of making sure that we reintroduce them back into society. So that is where I got it from, like a positive thing. They're devising, they're looking for the best ways to do it with, with dignity. So the IDP camps, just as we've seen the pictures, they make, those, it's what would you call deplorable conditions that people were made to live in. They did not choose to stay there. They did not want to be there. They were there because of all the insecurity that has been happening across, our country, and especially in the north. So people, we have discussed here on Amnesty International report about some of the abuses that go on there. So for me, I want for people to actually be taken back to proper habitation, They should be properly rehabilitated. And I hope that in the ways that they are looking at it, they are not looking at just pushing people away. Because now we want to just pass the buck. Let us be done with seeing people in camps and just, push them away from us so that we can now say we are done with the job. I hope that it means that we are building proper structures. We are finding housing and putting them properly. We are getting jobs and putting them in jobs properly. We are making sure that their children are in school. We are making sure that there's a healthcare system for when they go back into these communities that they have them. We are making sure that there's security right now in those communities where they'll be going to. So that is the sort of conversation I hope we'll be having. Not that we're just going to push people away from the camps and say, well, there's nobody in the camps, but they have gone on ahead to suffer in other places.
Thank you so much.
So we have over 2 million internally displaced people within Nigeria. We have about 300,000 displaced refugees outside. So IDPs are refugees. They're just that they are within the country. Refugees are the ones that are now, they've moved outside the country. I think that they should be moved to rehabilitate, to reintroduce them into the society. But I do not believe that it should be conveyed this way into via media. I think there's a lot of, maybe it's the PR, maybe it's the, Yoruba will say, agbe sokali oro, like how we say something. Because you cannot you can't say it in a way that will make them look like they're not contributing to society, because they were contributing to society. Most of the people were farmers.
Yeah.
They had work. They were earning a living.
Yes.
Their farm was burnt. Their livelihood was disrupted. They are trying to get themselves, and they've been treated in a very inhuman way, according to the reports that have been out several times concerning how these camps run. So obviously, we can't just keep them in the camps indefinitely. There must be a calculated program that is integrated, a system that would train them on a new way of life outside, because most of them, their areas are still not habitable. Many of these people, the place they were displaced from, still are not safe enough for them to go back to their locality. So where exactly do you want to move them to? What is the process that is being done to sensitize them on this is what you will now be doing? What training have they gotten? And there were many private individuals who went into these camps with the aim of helping to provide them skills, and some of them lost their lives. Some of them got kidnapped. And so it goes beyond just this statement that we read in papers right now. I would like our government, the people in charge, and obviously we're going to be asking questions from someone who can give us more information, to tell us specifically how this system would go on to mentally prepare them for the society, and as well as provide educational structures for the children, while not taking into cognizance the fact that these people had a livelihood before, and we must be sensitive to the loss they've suffered over the years.
Thank you so much, But let's talk to Honorable Satomi. Good morning, sir. Are you there? Are you there, sir?
Please don't listen to the TV.
Honorable Satomi, can you hear me?
Morning, how are you?
We're doing amazing, sir. So I'm sure you heard a bit of what the ladies have said.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Yeah. You've had a bit of what the ladies have said concerning the news, what we have on the news on how the IDPs will no longer be in existence. What is the plan? Can you tell us exactly what you think the plan is?
Thank you very much for this program and for having me. Returning the IDPs is one major issue. Hello?
We can hear you, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, returning the IDP is one major issue. The Borno State government and the entire Northeast humanitarian managers are advocating for. But thanks for the federal government to announce that it has an intention to return back the IDPs sooner, or it wants to work a plan to return them back. But returning them back, you know, Nigeria is a signatory to the Kampala Convention, which entails that return must be voluntarily and dignified. Dignified in the sense that there must be first a security to where they are returning, and then a means of livelihood must be established in a sustainable manner, where they will go back to their places of abode and go to their farms. But the major challenge is, who are the drivers, as the federal government is saying? Are they the state actors, or the development partners, or the federal government with different types of committees that up to this moment I'm talking, they did not get even the coordination right, to be sincere. That's why you will see a lot of today interministerial committee, the presidential committee on the Northeast Development, the PCNI, the Ministry of Humanitarian, etc., etc. But all it will come down to a proper mechanism must be put in place, if at all the federal government is seriously this time around. But we in Borno State is a welcome development, is what the governor is advocating for long, for the return of IDPs. Because this internally displaced person, if you look at it globally, Nigeria is like number 7 or number 8 in the global index, having a population of total about 1.2 million internally displaced persons. But other statistics showing we have over 2 million internally displaced persons. But looking at the way they have been running their life in the past, there is a lot of crying for diversion, for abuses, sexual, gender-based violence, and a lot of things. And this time around, I am hoping the federal government will put a mechanism in place where the return will be dignified, the return will be transparent. Transparent in a sense that the money that earmarked for such projects must be utilized judicially. If not, I don't think they will succeed. And I am proposing, if they will allow the respective state government to champion the cause alongside the developmental partners, and the federal government to put a strong committee or a ministerial committee that will coordinate with a time frame. Time frame in a sense that this is the first time we are seeing a lot of surrendering Boko Harams. And then people, issue of social cohesion and other things will come in now. Why I say social cohesion, you know, in all these liberated areas, I'm talking of Borno State, there are people who have returned voluntarily on their own, taking refuge as an internally displaced person in the headquarters of the respective local government. Their numbers amounted to getting to about 900,000 across Borno State. Wow. And there are internally displaced persons from the host communities who have never been in the IDP camp, but they stayed with their families, they stayed in a rented apartment, and they are forced to a lot of labors managed by other development partners or given to them by the government. This time around, you have also children that were born in the IDP camp and have reached school age of primary school, and some have completed the school at emergency in the respective camps that they are about to go to post-primary school, and others are in tertiary institutions. And now you want to return them back. Issue of shelter must be there, livelihood support must be there, wash facilities must be there, and all this requires huge amount of resource for them to return back and stay. If not, today we will return them. Before you know, in 1 week, the stipends, if there is no mechanism that you are giving them, they will sell it and they will return back to the city. Some will turn as beggars, some will turn as, turn to be as sex slaves, as we are seeing. A lot of drug addicts is there. So therefore, the tax is huge. What we are saying that is a welcome development, but we have to ensure that there is a proper mechanism, a sustainable mechanism with a follow-up and feedback mechanism, that when they return, what are they going to do? How are they going to start their school? How are they going to gain back the limits of their livelihood? Is the place that they are returning safe, or you are creating a second displacement? While the militaries have not cleared all such places. So it's not just mere announcing that, yes, we want to return. But what is the plan? Where is the plan? Who are in the platform that will champion this cause? I think the job is huge. If not, we are returning back to...
I can see you're quite passionate about this. Thank you so much for that detailed explanation. But let's get more questions to you, so, Nima.
What are you, as a representative of some of these areas in the House, doing to ensure that the level of corruption reported from these camps are not only investigated but prosecuted? We've had IDPs call out officials working on food distribution, on shelter, and even certain outrageous abuses like some that you mentioned, sexual, and all of that, for food, make mothers have to sleep for the portion of food that are due to their children, which is, of course, outrightly raping them. So what exactly are you doing to ensure that they get justice?
Are you there, sir?
Oh, looks like we lost him.
We've not lost him. Okay, he's there. Did you get the question? Okay.
Yes, I got the question. What are we doing on the misappropriation and non-proper management of the internally displaced camps? This is a very good question, and this is a major challenge in the IDP camps. I mentioned that there is an issue of coordination. Up to this moment that I'm talking about, the federal government did not get the coordination right. There must be a humanitarian coordination on the United Nations Development part headed by OCHA, and there's supposed to be a government that's supposed to champion this cause. And then if at all, Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
So we did not get the coordination right. If at all we have the coordination right, coordination simply means to identify the 4 Ws of all the development partners. And then if there is, by now, in the coordination cycle, there must be an agency like the ICPC, like agencies like the EFCC. So also the police, the DSS are there. So therefore, if everyone has to do its work, by now we will know where the gap is coming from, and then intervention can come in either by means of prosecuting them or arresting those officials or individuals that are perpetrating such acts within the cycles of the internally displaced person management camps and other in the host communities. But today, as I am speaking to you, most of us, particularly I did not count myself out, that managing the affairs of the internally displaced people in one way or the other tends to operate on our own without proper identification of 4 Ws or 5 Ws, what, where, when, who. So duplication of efforts are there, repetition, diversion, etc., etc. So therefore, if all such things have to be done, we need to all come on board. But as a member of the parliament, for us, we can only pass a resolution. And once we pass a resolution, for the agencies, it's now left for the agencies and the committees to take that action. And then from there, you will see it will send to levels of the committee, and this is the end. It will melt down at the bureaucratic issues of the committees of the House or the Senate or the agencies that are supposed to checkmate all these things. But that's why the only solution is to find out a proper mechanism where those people will be relocated back to their community, and there must be a follow-up mechanism for sustainable, in line with the Kampala Convention, that the return must be safe, must be dignified, and above all, security must be there from where we are returning them.
Thank you, Honorable.
If we take them back to the local government headquarters, still we are creating
Thank you, Honorable. Let me get in 2 more questions quickly.
Yes. So, Honorable, if you could just help me, let's just list. Let's not just, instead of explaining, can we list in what process or procedure do you think would be the best way to go about rehabilitating or taking these people back into society? What should be the first step? So that even Nigerians would be looking at it and saying, okay, yes, they've done the first step right. Then what should be the second step? And what should be the third step? And who should be the stakeholders that will be involved in making sure that this process is followed and also checking and balancing if there are any abuses?
Okay, I wanted to just ask again specifically, have you, in your capacity, Nima asked the question, but we didn't get a specific answer. Have you investigated any corruption allegation within the IDP camps specifically, and have you been able to prosecute or initiate the process of prosecuting anybody that is guilty?
Did you get the questions, Honorable?
He's listening to it.
Can you come again? The question?
The last question or the first?
Yes, the last question.
Have you? So she's asking for specifics. Have there been any prosecution of anybody guilty from the corruption on the in the IDP camps? Specific.
There's no time.
A bit delayed.
Thank you very much. Let me answer the first question. The first step is straightforward. First, to establish the place of return, as I said, must be safe. Therefore, where you are taking them to ensure that it's safe, are you taking them to the local government headquarters, or you are taking them back to their respective communities? If that's it, you make sure that the place is safe, the basic facilities are there, that is health, water, and sanitation. And then, who are the drivers of the return? Who are the actors? Is it the state government that is the principal actor, supported by the federal government? If that is so, is the best idea, then first the state government has to get the right data of the household where they are returning to, and then profile them in a proper mechanism that you can monitor them. That is the feedback mechanism I'm talking. Then after that, when you return them, what are you engaging them? Are they farmers before? What support the government is giving them? Are they merchants that lost everything? What kind of compensation you are giving them or assistance? Unlikely, not the food assistance I'm talking, or just by mere giving them a startup kit of 40,000 or 50,000 naira. I lost a billions, for instance. You cannot take me back and start giving me 50,000 naira. I'm a farmer. You will not just take me to keep me in an IDP camp without a proper support.
Thank you,
so therefore,
Honorable.
profiling of their data is very important in respect to their means of livelihood.
Thank you, Honorable. You've answered the question. Can you quickly give us the second one?
You are taking them. Let them know where they are going to, and let them be aware that what they will start immediately, but not taking them and creating them as a second place.
All right. Thank you, Honorable.
There are several positions that carried out by the TSS, by the police within the IDP camps.
Thank you, sir. I'm sorry we have to go. Thank you. Thank you so much, Honorable Satomi Ahmad, for that contribution. That was quite, he has given us what we should expect to see before this can actually work. That's all we can take on the show today. So we'll come your way again tomorrow. Bye-bye now.